We're here talking with Point Park Esports head coach and director Chris Gaul. We have League of Legends coming down to the end of the regular season. We have Rocket League kicking up in the next couple weeks. Coach, I want to thank you for taking the time to talk to us for a couple minutes here.
Yeah, thanks, Kevin. Thanks for having me.
So absolutely, League of Legends is 3-3. The regular season is over. They've won 3 of their last 4 games. Tell us about this run that the team's on. How did it come together? It's been a process with the team this semester.
Yeah, it definitely has been, like you said, it definitely been a process. I mean, I think it sort of shows uh, the team as general and how they've sort of grown together as a team and how teams sort of work as in general with any sport, but particularly in esports, playing together and having team synergy is very, very important. And so a team in the beginning of the season who had just started playing together, a team who were just getting to know my coaching style and the way that we wanted to play the game, in the way that we sort of went through practices and went through week to week. I think that it was all still very new for a lot of the players on the team the first few games. So we sort of struggled and we had failings here and there and we had hurdles that we got over. But towards the end of the season, when the guys were more used to playing with each other, more used to the coaching style, more used to the practice schedule, more used to the way that I wanted them to play and the way that we wanted to execute our games and our game strategies, I think it really started to come together, and you can see that in the results. You know, we had some pretty rough games in the beginning, and then towards the middle we got pretty close, but maybe we lost one. We lost like right at the end, right? I remember some really close games around then. And then we won a few just by sort of the skin of our teeth right at the end, and then our last game we just totally really went the whole way with a
This
quick
League of
2-0. So
Legends, this League of Legends squad, is there one or two things in particular that they are that is their strength, whether it be getting the kills or what have you, or not giving up, or what's sort of a strength of this league team?
yeah, so I would say our team particularly excels in the early game. I think if we can seize early game momentum and we can sort of really ride that into the mid game, they tend to keep map pressure, keep map control, keep control around objectives very well, and they can really steamroll that into a relatively quick or close out games in relative fashion after that. But we do tend to struggle if we do get behind a little bit early, or maybe we get a draft that isn't necessarily what we were totally looking for, and we get behind in the early game. It's something that we struggle with and something that we're working on, is sort of getting back on track, getting the train back on the rails, if you will. But if things come out the way we expect them to and we really come out strong, we tend to really sort of clinch those games.
So this is the first year of esports at Point Park, the first semester of League of Legends. Regular season over. We're on to the playoffs. Tell us about what's in the playoff round.
Yeah, so the playoffs are single elimination, best of 3 games, same as our sort of regular season. They're coming up in a few weeks here, and we've sort of been. The players have had a few sort of. We had more fun practice yesterday, and we sort of are going to take a day off or so today, and then we'll get right back into it because we have about 2 weeks until the playoffs start. So I'm going to give them a little bit of a break and as a congratulations and sort of a little break because they did really well. But we have a week and a half, 2 weeks of really hard practice, and we're going to put our nose to the grindstone. And we don't know who we're playing first round yet because the brackets haven't been seeded yet. But once we figure that out, we're going to start prepping more specifically for that team. But for now, we're going to stick to sort of the stuff that's been working for us and the general strategies that we've been working for all season. And we're going to keep pounding those and keep perfecting those and making sure that we can sort of really play to our strengths. So if we do, and sort of tighten up some of our weaknesses. So if we do end up in a position that maybe we're not as comfortable with, we have more tools in the tool belt to deal with it.
So that's your League of Legends update. Let's switch over to Rocket League, which had their debut season in the fall. They had a nice showing there. And the Rocket League team's beginning to kick up here. What's going on with Rocket right now?
Yeah, so Rocket League has been sort of in their off season while the league guys were playing. They were still practicing, still around. We just had less sort of competition happening because league was taking up a lot of the competition slots. But we're still practicing, still working at all of our flaws, and they've looked very, very much better, exponentially better. All the guys know it. I see it in practice every day. Um, I'm very impressed with sort of the progress that they've made thus far with even just in the off season. So there are some smaller tournaments and some stuff coming up towards the end of the semester, sort of like the mid to end of the semester, that we're going to try and jump in some qualifiers to see if we can qualify for like CRL, which is like Collegiate Rocket League. It's one of the sort of more exclusive tournaments, and the guys have been playing really well, and we've sort of been gearing up for that. We're going to see if we can get involved in that. And then maybe if that doesn't work out, we'll try and get in some smaller ones. We'll see what happens. But I want to get them back in some competition before the semester ends, just to give them a little bit of payoff for all the hard work they've been putting in this sort of off season time.
So we'll get you out of here on this one. We still have about 2 months or 6 weeks left in the year, but in the first school year of esports, to this point in the calendar, your general impression of the debut year of Pioneers Esports?
Um, I would say overall it went relatively well. I mean, obviously COVID put a pretty huge damper on. Look, people are checking out the space right here. You can see 'em. Um, I'd say COVID put a pretty huge damper on a lot of the sort of plans and a lot of the events and stuff that we wanted to make work throughout this semester and throughout this year. And that was something that really was an unfortunate turn of events for everyone, not just myself in the program, but anyone anywhere who deals with other people and whatnot. But that was something that we didn't expect. That was something we couldn't plan for, and that halted a lot of progress that we wanted to make. But all in all, even with that, the teams have been relatively successful. We patched up all the kinks that we were having in the beginning with roster issues and adversity here and whatnot, just because of COVID. But we patched up a lot of that stuff. The guys really came together. They're putting in a lot of work and a lot of effort. And towards the end of the semester, I think that it is really starting to look good. And the teams are starting to come out with decent records, and we're starting to roll out some of the speed bumps we've been having. And I'm very excited as I sort of go into the recruiting season more heavily now that I have a little bit more time on my hands. I'm very excited to see where the program goes next year. I think that next year can be very successful, and hopefully as COVID winds up and more people get vaccinated and things start opening up a little bit more than they have been, we can finish out some of the projects in the space that we wanted to work on. We can finish up some of the other sort of like around more of like content production projects that we have in mind that have just been sort of put on the back burner, unfortunately, and community events and whatnot. And hopefully we can really bring the teams to the forefront and make a really good showing of it next year.
All right,
But
very good.
I wouldn't be upset if we had something like this again. Like if we had a team showing like we had this year. I think that they set a good precedent, and I think that it's a good place to start for sure.
And on to the League of Legends playoffs, and Rocket League will be competing before the end of the semester as well. Coach, I want to thank you for taking the time. This has been head coach Chris Gaul, Point Park Esports. Thanks a lot.
I appreciate it. Thank you.